YouTube. So, bienvenido, bienvenido, kia ora, welcome, Kai. My name is Kevin Murray and I'm speaking to you in Bukelebec, which is the name of this region near the Merry Creek where they grow the Murnong daisies. And this is situated in Naarm, Melbourne, which is the traditional area of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and also to elders in the lands where you come from and your ancestors as well. And with your permission, we can begin and start sharing some of the beautiful stories that you've published in this issue. Does anyone else have anything to say before we begin? Wonderful. Okay, so just a couple of things, and I'll just light the candle. So we can mark the time. So welcome, and this is the final issue of the first journey of Garland. And over 5 years, we've covered 20 different creative places across our wide world. And so this final one is a special issue because it is something where we can think about the bigger picture, both in space and time. And in coming to South America, we're very privileged to learn about the cosmovision, the understanding of time, both in terms of the cosmos, personal time, history, to step back and look at the stars. So I want to thank all of you for contributing to this. And it's a very precious gift that you've given us with a great knowledge and wisdom that we can learn from in years to come. It's quite inspiring. So what we will do is briefly go through the issue and call on you to say something briefly, the key point of your issue, so that we can hear from all of you about what it is that you think you wanted to convey in your story. So let's start, we might start with Neke on the way to South America from Naarm, Melbourne in New Zealand. We'll just get your article up because I know you have to leave soon. So we'll just get yours up. Okay, just this is the issue, and here we are. Neke, kia ora.
O ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa I hui hui mai nei e kōrero nei. Kia koutou, kia ahitereiria te whenua moimoia, tēnā koe Kevin. Kia koutou katoa, kia Amerika, ki te tonga, ngā mihi nui. So it's an honour and a pleasure to be a part of the kōrero and the discussion, and also to have my work in this platform, and to be amongst you all also. This show that happened, a solo exhibition that happened not so long ago, it really was a whole collaboration or effort from many wahine, many women, many materials, many conversations, and from the atua, from my ancestors, from my the goddesses from Marekura, which is what this is all about. Marekura are the ones that have really inspired me. These goddesses, these presence came forward from a time of great upheaval, from the COVID time, from a time of a deep depression throughout the world. And these pieces came to light and they helped me get through, process a lot of what had been going on, and also connected me again back to this whenua, to Aotearoa, to my land, to my people, and a real whakawhanaungatanga, so building relationships and realising that that's the most important thing that's keeping us going and keeping us together throughout whatever's happening in our world, this whole conscious, collective consciousness that we share. Even though we here in Aotearoa don't have the COVID, we are also very affected by the energy and the space that are around us. So these pieces are healing pieces. They are pieces that come from the cosmos, from Te Ao, Pohatu, from everywhere. And I collected these from my local beach. They're all pretty much natural found resources that have been re-energized through the making, and they've all gone to homes, and they've all it's been such an incredible journey to be here and to finally see the article coming up too. So ngā mihi nui, koutou katoa.
Thank you so much, Neke. And we just published a little extra article this morning about the view of the eclipse from Mapuche, for whom the Pleiades, Matariki, is such an important constellation. And I know that's key in Māori cosmovision as well. And there's a lot of exchange between the two. So thank you so much. And now let's go to Magdalena. We're going to the work of Artesanías de Chile now. And Magdalena, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so hello to everyone. I'm really glad to be here. I'm really grateful for Kevin to invite me to be part of this final issue. I'm really happy to share part of the story. I'm coming from the academia, so my approach to Artesanías has been mainly from that side, from teaching primarily, and then as a researcher. So one of the case of studies that I'm looking at in my current PhD is the Pilwa. I'm discussing the relationship between designers and artisanal communities. But in particular for this number, I just wanted to share a little bit of the story of 3 families that I met in Puerto Saavedra in the south of Chile, that they had this amazing event today. I hope that I was there. In my article, I'm just explaining briefly how this magnificent and very simple at the same time piece is made. The pilwa is a bag, it's a traditional Mapuche bag that is made of this plant called chupon or quiscal, that it grows in the shadows of the forest around the houses of the artisans, but actually that's an issue now because it's disappearing. And in the article, I'm explaining how this bag is made, how it was in the past seen as a currency, as a way to survive, to exchange it for basic groceries like yerba mate or sugar, things for daily life. And that then kind of disappeared with the appearance of the plastic bags during the 80s. And now in the 2000s and lately in the last 3 years, I will say, it had like a revival when the plastic bags kind of were banned in Chile. And actually Fundación Artesanías de Chile had a great role in bringing back kind of the how precious is to have a pilwa, how durable they are, how ecological they are, and how much can we learn from an object. At the end of my article, I just wanted to point out that I think it's important in this kind of process of of revitalization and recognition and reconnection with objects from the past, that we respect those narratives, that we recognize the narratives from the people who made them and the landscapes from where these objects come from. And I think this is something that is an ongoing discussion with items like the pilwa. So I just fell in love with the families, with the way of doing this beautiful bag. I learned how to do one of those. We are trying now to bring some of the artisans, if it's possible after the pandemic, to the UK to teach other artisans who work with similar materials to have a dialogue together and create some beautiful things. So yeah, just wanted to share that experience, and I really glad that be part of this number. So
thank you so much, Magdalena. And it is one of our craft classics in the sense of an object that's passed the test of time, where a community is sustained and people gain a sense of identity from that. Thank you very much, Magdalena. And
thanks.
just next to Magdalena is Pilar, very busy at Artesanías de Chile. Hola, Pilar.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Kevin. It's nice to be here with all of you. Can you see me there? Ah, yes. So, well, Artesanías de Chile, as Magdalena told before, we are a foundation that work preserving traditional handcraft along Chile. And 2 years ago, we hear about a very important collection of very old textiles, Mapuche textiles, that were in the National Natural Museum here in Chile. It was like a treasure, but none of the Mapuche weavers knew that these pieces exist. So when we knew about all these pieces, the foundation decided to promote a project where we made an invitation to all these women from two special places in the south, in La Araucanía, that they are called Padre Las Casas. Another place it's Cholchol. Two places where very traditional ways of these kinds of textiles are preserved. So these 17 artisans came to Santiago. It's like 12 hours from where they live to Santiago. That's the capital here in Chile. And they spend all day long in the museum. Here you can see, as Kevin is showing, pictures where they went to this place that it's closed for a lot of people, where they could see and touch and smell these old pieces. They took the pictures with the cell phones, very surprised, amazed with the techniques that this old woman, Mapuche woman, used to make their textiles, with techniques that they have disappeared. So that day was very inspiring, and the idea was that after this day, they went back to the territory, to their houses, as you can see in the pictures of the articles, and inspired in that old textiles. The idea was that they tried to create new pieces based on the traditional ways of weavers, their ancient weavers have. So this project that we called, I don't know if I spell it well, Kevin, please help me. Here's of Yejin. Yejin, it's the spider, that it's a figure that they used to explain this woman that used to with the weavers. They call them Yejin. And inspired in these old textiles, they make a new collection. And here are the pieces that are the old ones that have two 200 years and the new ones. And we made an exhibition in the museum to show these pieces. And we make a book with this collection and try to move on people to try to buy again this kind of pieces. So weavers are inspired and they want to with again this kind of textiles.
Okay, thank you so much, Pilar, for that. And it's a great example of what you might call the craft renaissance happening across the South as people recover artifacts from museums and learn how they're made again. Thank you so much. And a very similar story is from Constanza Urrutia. Are you there, Constanza?
Hola a todos, a todas. Mi inglés es muy malo, muy malo.
¿En español?
En español, sí. Agradezco mucho la posibilidad de participar en Garland en esta edición. Mi proyecto trata sobre un hallazgo en un museo, Museo de Arte Popular Americano, que nos invitan a estudiar algunas piezas para ser miradas y reinterpretadas desde una mirada contemporánea, mirando el territorio y estas piezas del Museo Popular. Desde mi práctica de artista textil, observo esta pieza y voy tomando cada elemento de esta faja tejida por la cultura cayaguaya en una zona de Bolivia llamada Charazani. Los cayaguaya tejen su historia, tejen sus plantas, provienen de la herencia de médicos herbolarios, médicos de plantas. Hasta hoy día viven recogiendo sus plantas y estudiando su poder medicinal. Yo observo esto, escucho su cultura, converso con algunas personas y voy mirando el objeto, la historia, pequeñas iconografías y gráficas, estudio el color y voy entrando en ese mundo con cada elemento, voy tejiendo y de alguna manera incorporando su saber a partir de este estudio que hago de la pieza para luego imprimir una gran tela que pueda envolver mobiliario, que pueda envolver soportes de una casa a partir de esta iconografía de las llaves y los caballos de Charazani. De alguna manera ir relevando ese tiempo que es un tiempo técnico de tejido, un tiempo técnico del estampado, y un tiempo también del hacer textil. Eso hago desde mi práctica y desde la mirada iconográfica de la cultura cayaguaya.
Okay, muchas gracias, Constanza. And your work is so beautiful. It is so wonderful to share this beautiful work that has such an interesting story that connects you to the history of your land. So thank you so much for that.
Gracias.
Next, if we can go to Keka, somebody of Inca heritage who's made some ceramics. Are you there, Kika? Kika is in darkness at the moment. Can we hear you? Doesn't seem like we can hear Kika at the moment, but let's go on and get back to her. Andrea, this is one of the great gifts of this particular issue, which we will dwell on again later in this series. Are you there, Andrea?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Just speak a little more louder.
I am I am very happy and honored to share this moment with all of you. Es un honor compartir con ustedes. Even if it's strange that we are speaking different languages, when we are trying to root in native of each of our places, languages. I approach the Guarani culture, which is part of a large nation that lives across Paraguay, Brazil, and the north of Argentina. And my first contact was with its nature because I'm a naturalist. And then the impact of the Boa culture and their relationship with the rainforest that I loved changed many things in me and in my family because we go there together twice a year. And I've made friends that I cherish, which live in a small village near Iguazu Falls. And so there are many things that I could share about them. Perhaps one of them is this game that is shown in the pictures, which is like Guarani chess, though it seems to be a very, very ancient game, and similar games are played in Southeast Asia, apparently. This game implies dogs. It's a strategy game, dogs against a jaguar. It's a board game. Children can play it on the ground with little stones. And then the craft, this man you see there, Lidio, is the one who made that board. And he likes, for example, crafting each dog with a different face. And the objective of the game is either the dogs corner the jaguar or the jaguar eats at least 7 dogs. It's a long game. It's like chess. And it is regularly played by children or adults in the villages. This is just one of the elements that I could share with you about this wonderful culture, just one. The other part of my article, the principal one, has to do with a marvelous sacred book that up to now only existed in Spanish, which is the Aiwu Raputa, which means the foundation of the word. Words are sacred for the Mboa Guarani. Words were there at the beginning of creation. And this text was dictated to an Australian of origin, Leon Cadogan, midway the 20th century. I had the courage also because Kevin had sent like a bottle on the sea asking if anybody would dare to translate it into English. And I was, I don't know, cheeky enough to try. And I'm really learning a lot. It's an ongoing task. I've been doing this for 2 years, learning so much, learning the language principally. I've started learning Boa Guarani for a year already. And it's layers over layers over layers of beauty and sacredness in those words. So I'm deeply moved by the Mboa Guarani, and I really respect them a lot. And I have learned to value many of the elements in that culture. And that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Andrea. And we'll be sharing a selection of the translation earlier next year and thinking about how this can be of benefit to the communities that you work with. And this will be certainly an ongoing legacy and a great learning from this particular issue. But as you say, it's not something that we can consume and learn in totality. What we'll get are fragments, in a sense, an understanding that there is another world there. So thank you so much for that. Now let's go to India. Romika, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Hola,
Welcome
hola.
from Tamil Nadu.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I am actually an Indian who is very honored to be a part of this. This is probably one of the things that I hold closest to my heart, and I'll tell you why. So I started learning Spanish many years ago, almost 10 years ago, and I only did it as a language at some point of time. And there was a point where I
While Aromika is lost in the internet, one of the great things about this article is the way it connects with the series we had previously for the Africa issue on musical instruments, which can often involve what seems like a very humble item, in this case, just a crate, but which becomes so much a part of the descendants of the slaves in Peru. And it's a beautiful article. And the fact that it comes from India, I think is a wonderful way of creating a thread across this wider world. Aromika might have just rejoined us. Let's see if she's there. Oh, that's Paula. Paula's rejoined us. Hello. So let's move on to, who do we have next? Marcella. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Kevin. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, everyone. I don't speak English. Un cariñoso saludo para todas las autoras chilenas. I don't speak English and I memorize all this. Thank Garland Magazine and Kevin and your team for all the work behind the magazine and in particular behind the issue dedicated to South America. My area of work is neuroscience applied to the classroom. And I also have studies in traditional culture. This is folklore, mixing both knowledge plus a long study of the game in the original cultures of Chile. I appear studying the string figures. String figures exist all over the world, and the first documented are in Egypt. Then a Greek doctor named Heracles appears in the 16th. String figures used to this day in medicine. And then in modern times, since 1888, these figures are collected all over the world, especially in Polynesia. Since the vast majority of figures without white figures offered accompanied by songs and rhymes. The figures that interest me in a special way are the kaikai, which are the figures that with their respective songs, which are made on Easter Island, Rapa Nui, Isla de Pascua, nuestra Isla de Pascua. There are 24 figures giving us traditional and many others that do not have the category of traditional. Here in the magazine, in this Garland magazine, you have a kaikai, and I am available to teach the method of making and the associated rhyme of any other kaikai you want to learn. Thank you Kevin, y gracias a todas quienes están aquí. Es un placer compartir con ustedes.
Thank you so much,
esta edición.
Marcella. And
To you.
like we heard from Andrea, the importance of the chant is very important here. But also this links back to the article we had by somebody who featured in your festival, Robin McKenzie. String has become a very important part of our journey. Yes.
Thank you. It's a great job, that festival.
Yes.
And we wait all of you on November the next year.
Right.
Thank you.
And so Let's go back. I see that Aromika has rejoined us. Are you there again?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Okay.
Sorry.
Start again.
Sorry about the internet.
Yes, and
Can you hear me?
so just briefly, what was the key point you wanted to make in your article?
So the key point was that when I was introduced to the instrument cajon, I was actually among a lot of Latin Americans. And when I asked them about the instrument, there was very little that anybody could actually tell me about the origin. So in my research, I was actually able to find how deeply it was, how important it was in terms of identity of the people who had actually constructed this particular instrument back in history. So my entire, I think, last few years, I have spent just trying to understand the importance of this instrument, not only to the country to which it belongs, but to the people, more importantly, for whom it is a marker of identity. And the fact that they were able to find pride in their own history and culture because of a simple instrument which was made out of nothing more than a crate, a wooden crate. So I hope all of you actually enjoy reading the article.
Thanks, I'm sure. And it will be a very important story, as I mentioned, to connect with the other ones about musical instruments. Rita Soto, are you there?
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
we can hear you. Yes?
Yes. Well, my English is not so good, so I want to. I'm speaking Spanish. Sorry.
Please.
Bueno, en mi trabajo un poco fue muy intenso durante la pandemia y quedé un poco sumergida en base como a esta solicitud de escribir sobre esta serie que yo había desarrollado hace un tiempo atrás, que se basaba en un libro en particular que era Rosa Yagán sobre los yaganes. Y en pandemia, encerrada acá en Santiago, fue bien intenso volver a entrar como a este mundo y a todo como este imaginario como muy presente de todo lo que eran como estos espíritus y la visión de vida que tenían estos pueblos. Entonces, fue encerrarme y en esta oscuridad de invierno empezar a ir tejiendo y retomarlo y empezar a volver a tejer y a construir más de estos espíritus que había desarrollado hacía un tiempo atrás. Fue muy conmovedor para mí en la situación en la que me fui enfrentando, de lectura, de ver muchos documentales, de hablar con amigos que, por ejemplo, habían tenido la oportunidad de grabar los cuentos de una de las descendientes, de las últimas descendientes que hablaba el idioma yagán. Y entonces como empezar a reconocer todo este mundo con el objetivo un poco tanto de construir esto que yo iba sintiendo, en el fondo que se me iba presentando, como también de una manera de visibilizar y volver a presentar y que la gente pudiera volver a acceder a este mundo, a conocerlo, a que se interesara a investigar, a leer sobre él o sobre estos pueblos. Sobre todo hoy en día, que creo que estamos en una construcción social acá en Chile, enfrentándonos, por ejemplo, a una nueva constitución donde hay pueblos originarios que no están presentes hoy en los escaños para ser representados en estas nuevas constituciones. Entonces, me parecía interesante que estos pueblos que no están extintos, pero que han sido declarados extintos, pero el poder volver a visualizar a sus descendientes, que es la gente que está hoy en día escribiendo sobre ellos y dándolos a conocer de alguna manera, gritando que aún están presentes. Entonces creo que esas fueron como las partes relevantes de poder retomar estas historias y materializarlas un poco para poder mostrarlas.
Thank you so much, Rita. And this is very interesting work, very passionate, as you've expressed, which not only reflects this distinct Chilean craft of crin, working with horsehair, but also with Tierra del Fuego, which will be the subject of the quarterly essay that comes out next. So thank you for your beautiful works that maybe are similar to Keke in the sense of each work has its own story. While we are there in Tierra del Fuego, Sol, are you there? This was one of the great discoveries recently. Are you there, Sol, to talk about your work?
Sorry, I hadn't unmuted myself, sorry.
Yes.
Hi, Kevin, and everyone who's participating in this issue of Garland. It's been a fantastic opportunity for me, and I really thank you, Kevin. So my work is based on the Selknam people, another originary group. Oh, somebody unmuted. Another indigenous group from Chile that is believed extinct. Now, when I started my research, I, of course, like everybody else considers them extinct. And my original inspiration for them were the photographs by Father Gusinde, who was a German priest who spent time with them, and he was the only white man ever able to participate in their Hain ceremony, which is their initiation to manhood. Without the photographs that he recorded, we wouldn't have any record of him, of this. So because all their history and all their culture was passed on orally. So as they started to die because of extermination by the people who were colonizing, and also because of white man diseases, the few that would remain, they were sent out. They were normally young kids, and they were sent out to be adopted, but they lost their culture. However, those descendants are really trying to reconnect their roots and trying to revive it. So as I started my research and I started to know more, I connected with the Selknam community, Covadonga, who is very active at this point, trying to be recognized as an indigenous group in Chile. And I learned so much more. So I invited them to participate into my exhibition that I did in Sydney recently. And that's how I came to doing the work that I did, with pieces that were original, inspired by the original Hain ceremony, and then moving on to a more modern aspect, which from what I learned from talking with Hemani Molina, who's the president of the Covadonga community, there's a connection with the Bauhaus movement and the Selknam being inspiring the Bauhaus movement. So I moved on to making much more modern pieces by taking the Bauhaus, the Selknam pieces, and making them very Bauhaus, which is the other way around of what originally happened. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Soledad, and there's wonderful connections there. And it's interesting to see how there are threads back to the Western culture as well, as you've made. And it was great to find you. Let's go back to weaving now. This is an article I wrote, but it's really mostly taken from words by Paula Moreno. Paula, are you there. Can you join us?
I am finally here, Kevin.
Thank you. You're very busy. And I thought maybe you could say something about one of the themes in your work, and maybe also the experience this year in Chile and how it affected your work.
First of all, hi everyone, especially to you, Kevin, and thanks to Garland Magazine and to everyone. Muchas gracias a Garland y a todos los que están acá. Es un honor para mí compartir el espacio con creadores chilenos que admiro. Así que muchas gracias por la oportunidad para Garland. I'm not so good to speak English, but I want to say moreover that when I was reading the article that you write, I realized how much textile transformed my life, because these works come from the many different periods in my life. So the most important thing is I am an obsessive, I don't know the word exactly, constructivista. So I realized that how much important to me it's how to do textiles. But moreover, each one of these works transformed my life in this specific period. And specifically in the last time, to me has been a very deep and loneliness time. I was looking my life, especially the things that grow up as vegetación, plantas. So has been really lovely writing, and it's so good to see different words in different periods and how important is the textile to me and how important it's share this platform with other artists and craft person and people who is doing things with his hands. This is the thing that hold the world in these difficult and hard times. I have nothing more to say, Kevin.
Well, you say it all in the work, certainly. And you can see from this also that Paula is a teacher, that she taught Constanza, who is in this issue, and Daniela as well. And there's so much to say about the textile art in Chile and so much to share. I hope this helps that. But thank you, Paula, particularly also for being on the editorial board and helping this issue along and your advice. And we hope that that continues so much. Mil gracias.
Thank you. And I hope, espero de todo corazón que el viaje de Garland pueda continuar.
Yes, with your help, certainly. So I certainly recommend having a look at this article and also accompanying it with some music by Violeta Parra. Okay, now let's go back to Australia, to Susan Purdy. Are you there, Susan?
I am, Kevin. Thank you.
Great. This is another story that was very fortunate to appear related to the devastating experience of bushfire that happened in Australia, and thinking of it in a broader context. What for you is the key point of this story? Susan, I'm sure there are many other points, but what one would you like to share?
I think that the thing that I'd like to share is that the very personal view and the bigger picture are deeply intertwined and connected, and making the work for me was a really terrific experience of stepping back far enough to be able to see the bigger picture and to be able to understand this tragedy that happened in our community in a way that could facilitate some sort of healing, that understanding it from a much wider context was a really important way to look at it, rather than having your face right up close to catastrophe and disaster. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Susan. And so these are works, photograms made directly onto light sensitive paper. So they have a very strong material quality. Garland as a platform is very much around the world, the material world. And but this photography, as has happened in a few other stories, such as the one by Damien Skinner about Aretha Wilkinson's photograms and relationship to jewelry, that this is a medium that can have a lot of poignance to it, particularly in reflecting time. And so thank you so much, Susan. And if we could go on somewhere near to that, Jane Sawyer, another wonderful story about time more close to the experience of the solar eclipse that we've had, but regarding the moon. So welcome, Jane. Good to see you again.
Thanks, Kevin, and hello, everyone. I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri country, Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation in Naarm, Melbourne. Like Kevin, we're probably only a couple of kilometres away from each other. It's so amazing to hear everyone's stories. And I just want to say, Kevin, thank you for putting it all together. It's just incredible. I think any one of those stories would have been enough for a whole rich magazine in itself, but you've got so many of us together. It's just amazing. So thank you for your energy and your focus in getting the most incredible stories from around the world together. I can't wait to read more of them. I just wanted to say that only the main thing with my work, I'm a maker, I'm also a teacher and educator of ceramics, and the main thing with this body of work was it came to me from another eclipse, which was 2 years ago, and it was a blood moon, which was big and red and foreboding. So the image of the blood moon, I don't know whether any of you saw it. I got a glimpse of it from my back garden at 5 a.m. in July 2 years ago, as it started to just slowly sink down below the horizon. And that, whilst I was so excited and motivated to see this incredible event, it left me with a very unexpected outcome, which was that of foreboding for us as humanity, not for our planet. It's very clear that our planet will survive way beyond our humanity, but the Anthropocene, our story as humans, and all our rich cultures of making, because I'm a maker, making and stories were so threatened, and it's all wrapped up with climate change as well, of course, but I wasn't prepared for that foreboding. So this body of work came out of it called Planetary, which I've exhibited, and using ceramics, which is my medium, but also approaching it from a much more sort of fragmented way, looking at the fact that we do, as potters, we touch millions of years of molecules under our fingers whenever we're actually making something, and possibly touching other planets, dust from other planets as well, which got me thinking much more deeply about my own practice and my own material. So that's all I really want to say, but thank you again to everyone. I look forward to reading more stories.
Thank you so much, Jane. And your work is wonderfully profound. The fact that you put it into clay, the substance of the earth, to reflect that really grounds it literally. So thank you.
Thanks.
Now, Liliana, are you there? Liliana's been very busy today because it's this week, because it's the 10th anniversary of Hoya Brava, and she shared that story.
That's right.
She's got a couple of stories to talk about. How is it going?
Yes. Oof, very busy. And today is a special day with the eclipse. It feels special today. This is an image of an exhibition that we made with our group, Joya Brava, in 2011. It was called Quiltro, which means stray dogs. And we were such a large group of jewelers, and we could exhibit in a very a well-known place. So we were very happy to show our jewelry to our society in Chile. And these are images of our launch, the launch of Joya Brava. And now we are 10 years old, so time flies, and we are more mature now, but we're still a large group of only of women, and we are celebrating just this week. So I want to invite you to participate in all the activities that we organized for this week. So we'll start on Wednesday, and we will be celebrating until Saturday with some dialogues, and also with a special virtual reality video that is about our story and the reasons why we joined together, why we wanted to work together, and we wanted to travel and to show our work in different countries. So we went to Energenta, we went to Joya Barcelona, we went to Munich. We also did some exhibitions with our Argentinian friends. So we've done lots of things. Now that we look back, we have done so many things, and we feel very proud about it, because we feel we are a voice in the Latin America, jewelry. So this week we are celebrating
another 10 years too. But let's just quickly go to your work as well, because your work is something which touches on our own experience of time in our lives. And tell us what's the key in this work.
I've been thinking in the last 2 years about getting old, and about these old people that I know, my grandmother, and stories that are on my family, where I come from, who are the people that were my ancestors. And I started to use materials that I had around, like the orange peels and the fruits, everything we eat in the house. I started to dry it and to treat it and to paint it and to make different shapes. And I realized that I really liked how the sun transforms materials, and in a way that is similar to how the fire transforms the earth and the porcelain. So I started to mix everything together, that my knowledge about metals, my knowledge about porcelain, and also this new material, which are the orange peels or orange skin. And I started to make these pieces that where I'm all the time thinking, it's so nice when you can see time on the materials. It's so nice to find old things have so much to tell. And in this stage of my life, I have so many friends that are very mature. I have friends that are 80, 86 years old. I've been visiting my grandmother, who is 95 years old. So it's like, suddenly it revealed to me that to be old is also to be beautiful. All this knowledge that people get when they are mature. So I wanted to show some of that on the work.
Thank you. And it really shows how jewelry as a medium helps us define what is precious. And usually it's youth that is seen as beautiful and wonderful, but this is quite revolutionary to help us appreciate, in the material sense, aging. So thank you so much, and good luck, and hopefully another 10 years for Joya Brava. And finally,
Thank you.
I'd like to go to Damien, if he's still here. Damien is one of the co-founders of Garland, so it's very appropriate that he is here to finish us off as we cast around the theme of deep time, and it's a story that is continued through this particular issue. So Damien, what for you is the key message of your piece?
Thank you, Kevin, and congratulations on a fantastic, another fantastic issue. It's so interesting hearing everyone speak and thinking about the how long I've known you, Kevin, and the you know, the essential conversation that you've always held true to, which is that craft is a lingua franca of the South and of a way of understanding of peoples to communicate. And I think for an intellectual and an academic, it's really, really rare to find someone who is so interested in other people who are not necessarily in the academic or not part of a sort of a literary or not part of the intelligentsia. And Kevin, I just wanted to remind you and to remind all of us just how important that is, to find someone who is so passionate about what other people do. It's truly extraordinary, Kevin, and I thank you for it. And in that light, what I think for me about this story is that come through from my time and our time as a family of living in Arnhem Land, which is an Aboriginal lands in the far northeast corner of Australia, which is the opposite end of Australia to where Kevin and Jane and I are now, is exactly what you're suggesting, Kevin, that craft is a way of cross-culturally connecting. And it's provided me that opportunity in life, and it continues to provide me that opportunity. And I think that ultimately in a roundup, that I think that we're the lucky ones, that somehow humanity has somehow skipped a beat and figured out and tried to sort of construct a world in which making things is sidelined and is something that you have to do. And if you get an opportunity to stop doing it, everyone wants to do that. And I think we missed the point that actually making things and working with your hands is an essential part of a human experience. And we are worse off for trading it in for a just-in-time supply chain or a click of the button. And I think that we can find things out about ourselves and about our planet and about our humanity, and particularly in an Australian context about our colonial invasion and our possible future through working together with our hands, do a little less talking and a little more sharing and making. And I am very optimistic that we will do that, and that we are doing that, and that the opportunities for the younger people who are moving in these circles now to share a physical, manual, tactile, visceral future are improving, not diminishing, and that perhaps a global pandemic actually gives us an opportunity to refocus our minds and our hearts and our hands and get them busy making things. And my final words are that our future is handmade, so let's make it how we want it to be. So
thanks very much, Damien. That's the kind of call that's really inspired this journey, and it's wonderful to end that on. As you can see from time, the candle is out now. Before we go, and we can chat a while afterwards if you want to hang on, but while you're here, it would be good, very nice to do a little screenshot, a group photo. And I will ask you to maybe think of a gesture that you would like. Andrea, you have one that you might suggest from the MBR?
When they say hello or goodbye, they say one word, which is in a way similar to namaste, but it is accompanied by this, lifting both your hands. And it means I recognize and I welcome your soul. it is also said to say goodbye. So it's not only
And what do
hello.
you say? What's the word?
So we could, agujevete is the word. Agujevete.
Okay, so if I can count down to 3, 1, 2, 3, and you can say that and we can make our gesture however we want. Okay, that would be wonderful. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Agujevete.
Agujevete. Agujevete.
Yorana.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Beautiful. I will share that with you afterwards. So that brings us to the end of this. I'll just